All right. Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, gamers. Welcome back. Welcome back to another League of Legends patch notes review, rundown, rigmarole, hullabaloo, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's Tuesday. It's still early as fuck in the week. I still have work. I'm tired as shit. But regardless, we're going to do patch notes. I have so much food near me, but I'm not going to eat any of it because patch note takes priority. So, this is patch 13.15. I hope to dear God this is quick because I'm starting this late and I don't want this to go too long. But we are pretty much full swing into the Soul Fighter event, so let's see what's happening with that. I believe we're getting the second round now. But aside from that, I actually have been playing League again, especially Rift, because there's a pass out. Once there's a pass out, I'm going to play. And the ranked season, in fact, has reset as well. So, more Rift for me. I usually try and stay away from Rift. I try and play TFT and ARAM if I can, but the Rift is unavoidable. So, let's see what we got going on. I don't really know what's OP and what's not OP. I haven't played that much, but let's see if we could spot it out here. Ding, ding, ding. Patch 13.15 enters the ring. We hope you've all been enjoying our Soul Fighter summer event so far. I certainly have. I actually think this is one of the better events we've had in a while. I feel like there's so much to do, and the things to do are actually fun. The Soul Fighter TFT event is pretty fun, and then the Soul Fighter Arena event is extremely fun. I think, and I know they're going to do this too, so like my worries are basically quelled, but for the Soul Fighter Arena event, they're going to add more augments, and they're basically going to give it more love, which is very, very good. But anyway, at this point, we're expecting some of you have already finished scouting out and beating the existing competition. That's true. So we figured we'd just make even more competition for you. Make sure to keep an eye out for the second half of the Soul Fighter roster coming out this patch. They'll also be making their own cameo appearances in Arena. Oh, okay, cool. So Arena's getting more updates with at least the cameos. I hope we get more augments. I really hope we get more augments. But anyway, we've already had 2 micro patches for Arena, which I never went over, but that's okay. We're not done yet. In order to keep the game experience fun and fresh, we have another round of balance adjustments. This is where I'm scared. This is where I'm scared they're going to treat it like ARAM and URF. And I mean ARAM and URF after a while. Because at first ARAM and URF were very fun because they were unmanaged. Because they were left pristine and untouched. In fact, I would say the funnest URF ever was the first time it came out. Because you can literally have 200 Maokai saplings. Then they put limits on things. And then that made it less fun. Once you start balancing things, yeah, it becomes more fair. But with fairness comes less fun. This is where things have to be unfair to be more fun in my eyes, and this isn't pro play. Obviously there's a ranked component to Arena, but this isn't pro play, so I feel like this should be as unmanaged as it possibly could be. Obviously if something is disgusting broken, we have bans so we can ban it, but if there's a lot of things disgusting broken, I guess tone them down a little bit. But I'm very hesitant to give Riot the okay here to nerf things and touch this thing. I think left untouched is how it's going to be most fun. It's also how most people are going to metagame it and going to find what's the best and what's the worst. But it comes with the territory. People are going to do that regardless. So anyway, we hope you're all enjoying Arena and we're looking forward to seeing you in the ring. Well, they're definitely going to see me because I'm going to keep playing it. Now let's head back to the balance changes for Summoner's Rift. In this patch, we're knocking down Sejuani and Maokai, who have been thriving in pro play. That's interesting. Tanks are actually doing good. Giving Rel some nice quality of life updates and walking back some previous buffs that ended up being just a bit too strong. I feel like Rel is sort of like the Wukong rework. I feel like even though she didn't get like a full-on rework, she got like a mini rework. Wukong's was way bigger. Wukong's one was too good and they nerfed it and nerfed it and nerfed it, and now he's kind of trash. I feel like Rel is going to go through the same thing, at least from what it's looking like. But I haven't seen too much Rel, so I honestly don't know if she's that good. I've seen more Rakan than anything. But I don't think Rakan is that crazy. But anyway, we also have some updates to how Smite interacts with pets. Oh, I heard about this change. I heard this change is maybe potentially a buff for Heimer. And if that's the case, that's going to be really good. At least for me. I want to play Heimer again. Which required retuning their durability as well, so make sure to check those changes below. Low rolling your arena augments? Yes. Well, we have a whole different game mode for you to low roll in. It's called TFT, and while I play TFT, I'm not going to do patch notes for that because that's too much. But anyway, We're getting the new Soul Fighter skin, so we'll go over those at the end. Apex MMR Duo restriction. The MMR Duo restriction for Apex ranks has been re-enabled. So for those of you, who are Apex ranked, that's very low population, but this has been a big issue. So some of the best people, well, obviously the best people, are at the highest ranks. And a lot of the best people go into the higher ranks duoing. And duoing is very fun. Now, this has been kind of a big controversy. So this is one of the few things I think there's an argument for both sides with this. So they're re-enabling the restrictions. So what does this mean? This means you cannot queue up as a duo in solo duo in the Apex ranks and above. So I believe that means Masters and up, but I don't remember. But essentially, once you start getting near Challenger, you can't duo anymore, you have to solo. So that makes the game very unfun because people like to play with their friends. But on the flip side, and this was how it was told to me, and it completely blew my mind. Imagine you're solo queuing and you're going up against Afro Moo and Double Lift on your bot lane. And imagine your solo queue. You're losing. You're just losing. There's no competitive thing there, you're losing. So I could definitely see it for both places. And this is where at the highest level of play, I think it does kind of become... See, it's weird, because it's bad for pros, but pros are the ones causing the problems. So at that point, who do you cater to? The professionals in regular play or the normal people in regular play? And by regular play, I mean ranked. It's a very interesting debate, and I honestly don't know what the right thing to do here is. I'd prefer just always be duo on, but at that point, if you have no friends, it's going to be way harder to solo queue, especially, as always, if you're a bot laner. So, I don't know. I don't know what the right choice is here, but they re-enabled it, but they did say they were going to look after it and see if they should disable it in the future. So, they're still up in the air about it, which is good. But anyway, moving on to the champions. Aatrox. What do I think of Aatrox? I don't know if it's because Elijah has been sucking cock on Aatrox recently. I don't think Aatrox is that strong. I think there's not enough payoff if you hit his abilities. I think he just straight up needs more damage, personally. Let's see, because they're obviously not going to bring back his heal. His heal was too ridiculous in their eyes, so they don't want him to have a niche. They don't want a lot of people to have a niche, so they're probably just going to make him more generalized with damage. So let's see. The Aatrox buff from last patch went a bit awry, so we're toning it down a little. Oh, they're nerfing him. Interesting. So the nerf is going from just bonus AD by 10%. Okay, this is whatever. This is a weenie change, whatever. Caitlyn! Okay, what do I think of Caitlyn? So for those of you who don't know, I'm obviously the best ADC main in the world. I always ban Caitlyn. I feel Caitlyn, even though she doesn't have that strong of a mid game, her late game is pretty good. Her early game is really good because of her range. She is a lane bully. She can basically shut down the enemy AD without having jungle intervention if your support is as good as you. If the bot lane is even and you're going Caitlyn, you're going to beat their bot lane because you could just harass them out. Caitlyn is such an oppressive character early. She's similar in my eyes to Draven, but less skilled. So this is where I always ban Caitlyn. Now, do I think Caitlyn's necessarily good? Not particularly. I just think she very much fucks up the AD in the early game, which I hate. But I'm assuming they're going to buff her because I really think crit ADs right now are struggling. Let's see. Caitlyn hasn't been hitting the mark in terms of her current power, so we're here to put some gunpowder, Hextech, in her rifle to give her some shots, more kick. I want to give her some more kick. We're primarily focused on making Caitlyn scale better with her crit-based builds. Crit-based builds are kind of shit right now, particularly in her passive and ultimate crit chance scaling. So this is where, even with the buff last patch from IE getting more crit damage, I still think IE is an undervalued item, or an underrated item, honestly, not even undervalued. If it was undervalued, that would imply that it's good. It's not good. This is where IE is not like what it used to be, because ADs are opting to get stupid-ass Gale Force, which they nerfed already, right? They nerfed it to be 90-second cooldown, or no, 120-second cooldown, I think, which is horrendous. And, you have fucking, what is it, Navori Quick Blades, I think, as the other mythic now, which is ridiculous. The fact that a lot of people are not going IE, even though IE is supposed to be the staple ADC item, is baffling to me. They ruined ADC, in my opinion. I think they need to get away with this mythic bullshit. This is where the whole other times I was like, oh yeah, the mythic system's fine, it's alright. No, get rid of it. Get the fuck rid of it. This shit's ass now. Now it's ass. But anyway, it ruined ADC builds. Anyway, particularly in her passive and ultimate crit chance scaling. While she won't be able to gain lane advantages with these changes, she'll be better able to keep up with her competition when it comes to scaling with them. So this is where I honestly really question something, right? Caitlyn scales with crit chance on her passive and ult. You know who else scales with crit chance that we didn't see here? Ashe. Ashe is an AD who heavily synergizes with crit chance. Her passive synergizes off of it, and her passive affects her damage and slow. It's the crux of her kit. This is where, on Ashe, you're building Triforce and Blade of the Ruined King on a crit-based ADC. How the fuck is this allowed? Like, the fact that they didn't change that or tune that just shows the bot lane is in disarray and they do not care. They really do not give a shit if that's like the best Ashe build. Character who scales hard with crit. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. So the crit chance coefficient is going from 1.2 to 1.3. So, okay, so this is granting plus 27 damage. That's not bad. And then for the ult, it's going to 3.5 instead of 2.5. I don't know why for the passive they gave the damage number, but for the R they didn't. Well, actually they can't. Fuck. Because it depends on your build. Interesting. Caitlyn's slightly better, but I'm still betting her every game. I don't think she's that good still. She scales good, but again, I think there's unless she's absolutely broken with crit, which as we've seen with Ashe, who literally scales off crit harder than Caitlyn does, I believe. If Ashe isn't going crit, I don't think Caitlyn's gonna be either, unless Caitlyn scaling specifically with crit outvalue Ashe's, which I don't think it is just from these changes. So I still think Caitlyn's kind of weak. Camille hasn't been the sharpest legs in the shed. Ha! It's a fucking Smash Mouth reference. And since she has been, I feel like if I say references now, I'm old. Like I feel like an old man saying, "Oh, that was a reference in my day." Man, if anyone saw Shrek, they'd know. I feel like Shrek isn't for old people. It's still for the new hip young people. Anyway, Camille hasn't been the sharpest legs in the shed, and since she hasn't seen much pro play either, they're gonna buff her. What are they doing? Her attack growth is going up, and her R base bonus magic damage is going. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage. They're basically tripling the damage at level 1 from 5 to 20. Holy shit. Oh my god. This is where I thought, right? When you read it on paper, you think Camille is very strong in her ultimate. She's honestly not. The biggest thing with the ultimate is you just can't run away from her. It's not that she has a massive combat advantage. Now this gives her a pretty decent, better combat advantage. I don't think it's anything crazy. I could be wrong. Because again, 5 to 20, like, just think about it with 2 autos, right? With 2 or 3 autos, how much are you doing? With the old ultimate, you're doing 10 extra damage. With the new ultimate, you're doing 40 with 2 autos. With 3 autos, you're doing 60 to 15. Like, it's a difference. That is a difference. That is a decent difference. I think this is a pretty good buff. Excuse me. Gwendolyn, my wife of the Shadow Isles. I love Gwen. I want to marry Gwen. I want Gwen to be my girlfriend. I think Gwen is cool. I think when she came out, she was super, super cool. She was super strong. I think since then they nerfed her. But Gwen is still one of the best scaling champions in the game to just shred people's assholes. Like a late game Gwen, I think if you land everything you're supposed to, unless you're fighting a very skilled Kindred or Fiora or someone with mobility, I think there's no chance of anyone living this. You shred tanks because you scale based off them, and even if you don't, you do enough damage because you're stupid anyway to just like kill squishies instantly. Like she actually does insane damage later. I would say she's harder, but if you can play her correctly, she's actually more of a hyper carry than Kale is, or if not more than as much. I think she just does that much stupid damage. Now, the caveat being, I think she's very hard, and her early is fucking abysmal. Her early is abysmal, and they made sure to that. They nerfed her early like to all hell because they can't have her scaling into a Bawana beast and being a decent beast early. So they definitely nerfed her early game. But I think that's her main issue. It's the same thing as what Kelly used to be. You can't get to her late game. It takes too long. And the character is very skill reliant, and you kind of get skill checked if you suck, which the majority of people do. Gwen needs some help at the moment, and we're here to throw her a metaphorical lifeline or yarn. I wonder how long they take to think of the puns in this shit. Her damage is already in a good spot, so we want to focus on helping her early game. It's exactly what I said! particularly into her more difficult matchups. By increasing her durability, these changes should help Gwen trade better into tough matchups, especially when using her Hallowed Mist. So her health regen is going up by 0.5, which means probably nothing. And her W, armor, and MR is going up by 5. At least later on. Earlier it's going up by 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Oh no, it's going up by 5 at all points. Okay. I mean, 5 is something. Again, the earlier it is and the less you have, the more it the more it gives you value. Is this crazy? No. Is it negligible? No. I don't think it is. I think this is good. Now, it's nowhere near this level. I think this is a step up from that, but this is not bad. Ivern. Okay, so I heard Ivern is kind of shit right now, and I knew he would be shit once they failed at the rework at him. And, we have the resident Ivern main Hunty to tell us that. So this is where I think Ivern really, really lost his footing once he lost one of his unique character traits. Again, his niche, which same thing with Aatrox. Aatrox had the niche of self-resing, they took that away. Aatrox had a similar niche to Vlad of healing ginormous amounts, they took that away. Now what is Aatrox? He can heal a little bit, but he's mostly just a damage dealer. He's mostly just like, I'm gonna kill you, right? It's not I'm gonna outlive you, it's not I'm gonna res so you have to deal with me a second time. It's just I do damage, I'm boring. This is where with Ivern, I feel like sort of the same thing is happening to where Ivern is a very unique champion. One of the most unique champions in the game, I would say. However, they're taking his uniqueness away. One of the big things with Ivern was buff sharing. You were able to buff share, and now they gave that to fucking everyone and their mother. So that's gone for some reason. So what makes Ivern unique now? I guess the fact that he'll never die to the jungle camps, sure, and the way he jungles is interesting, but I don't know. Ivern's weird. Yeah, I mean, he's a support jungler. He's gonna be weird. Let's see what they're doing. They better buff him. What is this essay? Ivern has a unique place in League of Legends as an enchanter jungler, and as such, we believe enchanter should be his primary build. What were they building him AP? His high AP build should be viable. No, they shouldn't, but are currently significantly better than his supportive ones. So what, are they going to nerf the scaling and buff his base? Because that's what I could see. That's how you nerf anything if they're building damage. Nerf the scaling, buff the base values. Nerfs to his E AP ratio and buffs to his base shielding. Nerfs to Daisy AP ratio for bonus AD. We do not think Daisy should be able to duke it out with other champs 1v1. Honestly, I disagree. I think Daisy for an ultimate should be able to do that. But anyway, I know what they want Daisy to be. They want Daisy to be just like someone that's helping you do the beating, not like being the champion. Because when Daisy comes out, she's basically the champion. You're the helper at that point. But anyway, let's see. And buffs to his teammates amping W, which realistically only helps the ADC and maybe the top laner. Should shift his builds and playstyle. Yeah, right. And away from Night Harvester. Imagine Ivern building Night Harvester. Oh my god. I think no one even plays this guy anyway. In addition, Ivern is simply overpowered. Along with the above changes, his MR is being retuned to that of a ranged champion, and Daisy's duration is shortened to match Tibbers. Wow. 45 seconds is still enough time to be worth micromanaging her out of harm's way. No, it's not. 45 seconds is not that long. But will Tippy keep it from having her 100% uptime? Okay, whatever. Finally, Daisy's overall durability is being shifted. Yeah, so not only is she going to last less, she's going to be squishy, what it sounds like. First, Smite will no longer deal high damage to pets. Okay, so that's good. Which necessitates nerfing her durability somewhat. I actually agree with that. Second, her durability is being shifted from rank-based to champion level. This is because the game state at level 6 is very different from level 10. Okay. I feel like once Neferi came out, they like re-looked at pets because they kind of were forced to with her. I really want to play her too. I haven't bought her yet, so if they end up changing her in this patch, I can't really say anything on it. I can say a little bit from what I've seen, but I haven't played her because I'm trying to get her for free from the rank tab. But let's see. So base stats. Base stats, the MRs are going down. That's fine. The W. It is getting buffed base-wise to almost fucking double. Jesus Christ, that's huge. The E. Trigger Sheed. This is going down. This will be a buff until Ivern gets 100 AP. Will this be a buff? Excuse me. So I guess once he gets 100 AP or whatever at max level, that's when the shield gets lesser than before. Well, either way, this is technically a buff, and he's not supposed to build AP anyway, so that's fine. And then Daisy, duration's getting cut by 15. It hurts, but actually I didn't know it only lasted a minute, so that's not too bad. The armor and MR is scaling, but is overall nerfed. Excuse me. And by scaling, I mean base levels. It doesn't scale off AP anymore. That's fine. The health is going up, but again... Oh, no, it still scales. Oh, shit. This is a durability decrease. What? Wait, how? You're giving us more health and scaling off the same amount of AP. That doesn't make any sense. And then Daisy attack damage. Okay, so it's getting cut in half in terms of scaling. Yeah, this is fine. They could nerf Daisy's damage. I mean, obviously it's fun if Daisy does damage. It's good. And if they're nerfing it, it is bad, especially this much. But Daisy should not do damage. This is where I think they're doing something to align with the champion's core kit. This is where it goes into the question of what do the players want the champion to be versus what Riot wants the champion to be, because I'll always bring up the example of Orianna. Orianna was supposed to be a support. They took her mid, they made her a mid laner. Now Riot balances her around being a mid laner. She's not a support. This is where I question if, even though Riot wants Ivern to be an enchanter, what if people just want him to be like a fucking kill? A plant killer. I mean, at that point, just buy Old God, but same shit. Yeah, I mean, this is I wouldn't take this as a bad thing. It's a nerf to his damage, sure, but I think it's actually, in a way, because I don't understand how this E is or not E, the ult is a durability nerf, because he's literally getting, like, more health, and it's still scaling the same. I mean, I guess technically you're getting the 3,900 way earlier, so maybe you're going to have less health until 18, because it's non-linear scaling, but, I don't know how that's a 5% durability decrease when you're literally having more health. Maybe it's because they're taking into account the armor and MR, but I feel like you're getting a lot more health on Daisy now. A lot more. But anyway, yeah, so I think this is actually fine. I think this is good. I'm not an Ivern player, so I could probably be wrong. Oh, dear Lord, Kaisa. Okay, so Kaisa, I think a patch or two ago, was the worst AD, or one of the worst ADs in the game, and now she became one of the best ADs in the game. Why? Because if one build gets nerfed, go to a different one. AD gets nerfed, go to AP. AP gets nerfed, go back to AD. Both of those get nerfed, I don't know, do some weird lethality bullshit. Like, Kai'Sa's so problematic. But anyway, I love her. She's one of my favorite ADs, so I want her to be strong. Now, there was some controversy behind whatever the patch is going to be here. I don't know the end result, because I don't know the original, but originally Riot, aka Freak, changed Kai'Sa. Originally, he did some sort of change to her, and people basically called him out saying, like, yo, you're stupid, you're an idiot, what is this change supposed to do? They didn't like the change. I don't know if it's because it was too harsh or too little. I think it was too little. Like, it didn't really, like, impact the problem. But, yeah, people were fighting with Freak. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. Kai'Sa has skyrocketed in popularity because of AP, and currently has a wealth of viable build options. She always did. Her AD builds like Kraken and Quick Blades are a little too strong, and her high AP ones are over the line, so she's powerful everywhere, which I don't believe. I believe her AD is fine. We're delivering a small nerf to some of her AP outputs, plus a more generic nerf with the hope she'll continue to have multiple viable builds. Yeah, no. Alright, so base health is going down. Nice. The Q is getting nerfed AP-wise. Okay, that's pretty much it. Are they nerfing base damage? They're not. Yeah, they're not nerfing base damage at all, just AP scaling. Interesting. I didn't think the Q was the problem with AP scaling. I thought it was the W. But anyway, let's see. Cooldown reduction after evolution. 77 to 75. That literally seems like nothing. That honestly seems like nothing. Kai'Sa's not really nerfed. I mean, the AP's nerfed a little bit with the Q, but if you're relying on Q for AP Kai'Sa, I think you're playing it wrong. The W seems negligible. Next, Maokai. Apparently, Maokai's too tanky, and I feel like, again, I don't know recently, but I feel like when I was playing tanks before in the last event, I felt like tanks were not tanky. I felt like they were weak. So maybe I was missing the memo, or maybe like something happened while I was gone, who knows, but apparently Maokai's good. Maokai has been overgrowing his welcome in Pro, but his standing is in good place in solo queue. This tree is already at a good level when it comes to CCing his enemies, so we're looking to slow his jungle clear speed. I think this is fine. I think keep his kit, keep his, thing, make his jungle a little bit worse. This guy's supposed to be a fucking top laner. Like, come on. But yeah, this is a fine change. 20 damage, 20 damage. Oh well. Nami. So I think ever since they removed the interaction with Nami and Lucian, I think Nami's been a bit worse for wear. Because let's be real, she's a good support. She's a really good support. But her best support duo was Lucian. Her best AD duo was Lucian. And since they nerfed that combo, I feel like I haven't seen much Nami. Granted, I never see Lucian, but I haven't seen much Nami either. And that's only accounting for her playing with Lucian, not her being played overall. But as we know, and as I've said multiple times, the bot lane is in disarray where you don't even play regular supports or ADs anymore. You play whatever the fuck you want. So let's see what they're doing. Hopefully they're buffing her. Since our last set of changes, Nami has become a strong, independent fish that doesn't need a Lucian anymore. Exactly what I just said. Now that she isn't soul bound to Lucian, we feel more comfortable adding some power back to her kit. Excuse me. Like increasing the move speed she can offer to allies and giving slightly more damage on her Q. Honestly, I think that's fair. I think the Q is already hard enough to land. It should chunk a little bit. We want to be very careful with W and E, which are her primary support tools. Yeah, and her poke tool. So instead we went with a reliable way to help others. We're also adding a little bit more satisfaction in hitting her more difficult spell. Okay, cool. I actually agree with all these so far. So the move speed is going up by a decent amount. So right now, let's say you have 100 AP, right? You're getting 90, 110. You're getting about 110. With this new buff, you're getting 125. So not crazy much more, but still good. I think the biggest thing I want to see is, I don't know if this is, I don't know if the move speed is decaying, because if it's decaying, it feels like shit. I feel like decaying move speed is ass. But also the duration. I feel like the duration lasts so low. These are things that, some of them are easy to hit, like the bubbles are easy to hit, the splash wave is easy to hit, the ult is easy to hit. The Q isn't. But I feel like for hitting them, you should have... The move speed number is fine. I think the duration should be increased. And I think that would make Nami feel good. I think that might border OP, though, because move speed is low-key OP. By the way, let's see what they're doing. So, the passive is good. What about the Q? The Q is going from 75 to 90. Wow. I think early game this matters way more than late game, obviously, because of scaling and defenses and stuff, but not bad. Not crazy, but not bad. Nami's slightly better. Rel. What to even say? Like I said, I haven't played a lot with Rel. I don't know how crazy she is, but I keep hearing she's crazy, so I think we're getting the Wukong treatment. They're going to keep nerfing her till she's fucked. Or maybe we might get the Rise treatment, where they keep nerfing her, but because she's a unique character, or such a unique character, they keep trying to rework her. And they keep nerfing her. So let's see. Rel's midscope has been charging down bot and jungle for some time. So there's bugs and there's other shit, and that's what they're addressing. Her Q flash used to work similarly to other skill shots like REE, where after the flash it would go to the location you were originally targeted. This has its pros and cons, but leads to a number of instances where Rel ends up queuing backward or at an entirely different angle, especially after flashing a wall, which could throw players off. Her W2 attack was feeling sluggish and unresponsive, and they're smoothing that out. That sounds like a quality of life change. Finally, there are some inconsistencies in how her passive was applied. Okay, cool. So what are they doing? It sounds like they're just bug fixing her, honestly. So all spells and autos now apply the damage first, then the passive. Okay, I don't really know what that means, but cool. I honestly, ever since they reworked Rel, I really don't remember what her kit does. Okay, so Q maintains the target location after flashing to Q maintains the absolute direction after flashing. So this is kind of a low-key buff. And then her W. Increase dash speed before the flip when she's locked onto a target. So this solves bugs and makes the ability feel quicker. And then they fixed another bug. Okay, I'm not even going to comment on these. I really don't know what to say with these. I haven't seen Rel, I don't play Rel, and I don't remember her kit too well. So Rel, we're just going to assume she's better. I'm assuming these are all buffs, kind of. I don't think these are nerfs. I think these are buffs. Anyway, Sedge. I don't know how the fuck Sedge is OP. Like, honestly. But let's see. Sedge, like Maokai, has been a top-tier pro jungler, but why? It's about time to give her the spotlight to another jungler. Damn, they really don't like tanks. If there's another class Riot does not like, aside from ADC, it's definitely tank. We'll be nerfing her W base damage, which is especially valuable in pro play. Nice. How about are they nerfing this shit? 10 base damage. I see. What about the second cast? 10 base damage. Okay, these are clown changes. Cool. Shyvana, what do I think of Shyvana? I think she should have got the VGU instead of Skarner, even though both would have probably come out 3 years from now. What are they doing? I feel like Shyvana's weak. Shyvana's last round changes were a bit too fire. I actually don't remember they buffed her, but I remember it now, but I don't think anything really happened because I haven't seen Shyvana. So they're dampening her flames. Shyvana has historically always done better at low MMRs, of course. A recent change increased the skill skew even more. With this batch of changes, we're looking to even out the skill skew a bit. So they're reducing her base by 0.4 and her growth by 5. This is Wiener. Next, Talia. Talia hasn't been rocking anyone's world recently, and I agree. I feel like Talia... Actually, it's weird. I actually think Talia is niche. She's a little difficult. She's not like Gwen, but she's very similar to Gwen, whereas if you're good at her, she's not as hard as Gwen is. But she's not easy either. But if you're good with Talia, you could do work. I feel like Talia actually does a lot of work. Anyway, which is a shame because that's literally her identity. We currently feel as though Talia has room for a small buff. Ew, they're touching jungle. Especially when it comes to early game damage and frequency. So what are they doing? Are they touching cooldown with frequency? Let's see. No, they're not. They're buffing her damage by 5. Wow. And then her E is going down by 2 seconds early. And is getting more damage to monsters. These are also kind of wiener changes. These are a little bit wiener changes. Yasuo! What do I think of my boy Yasuo? And I see Yon right after him, the shit brothers. I feel like I've seen Yasuo and Yon do fairly well with the new season, the new rank season. However, that could just be because I'm playing against shit players. I honestly don't know. Excuse me. I honestly don't know if they're gonna get buffed or nerfed. I can see an argument for either or, so let's see. Yasuo hasn't fully recovered from the mid-season shocking that removed the Mortal Shield Bow. As a viable early game option, we're continuing the trend of giving him enough durability to survive early. Interesting. This change in this patch ends up being a 30 to 50% larger shield. So it doesn't change his early or late, it changes his mid. Which is around the time he's probably going to get shield bow anyway. So the shield strength is staying the same, but it mirrors that scaling? I don't understand how this is different, but I'm assuming they're saying it's a buff, so I guess it's more oriented towards mid. This is stupid. This is a stupid change. Yon, it's the same shit. Yon, they're increasing his shield, probably. What are they doing? Shield strength is going up. Cool. Yeah, so the weird thing with Yasuo and Yon is, you know, despite what people might believe, they are very skill-capped characters where, if you're not good at them, you feed, and I know people know that. So this is where, like, Yasuo's shield and Yon's shield, they're up. I think Yasuo's shield is honestly better than Yon's. Well, see, I can't even say that because they're both very, situational. Yasuo's can get procced by accident if you just have it up, but Yon's is, like, you can choose when to have it, but it's lesser. Yasuo's shield is big, but they both last, like half of a fucking second. So I think only good players can really get use out of this. And even then, they're not really changing much with it. These are stupid. But we're near the Y, so we must be near the champion, like, balance done. Or we're done with the champion balance. Nice! Okay, now, let's read what they're doing to the pets. So, Smite and Ultimate Summons. Currently, Smite has 2 damage value, one for champions and one for everything else. Unfortunately for pet champions like Annie and Ivern, that everything else includes the pets who are supposed to live long enough to be useful. Smite all but removing a champion's ultimate is pretty unfair. Additionally, uniquely amazing at dealing with summoners is not a strength we think junglers need. That's true. We're electing to make Smite's interaction with pets the same as it is against a champion. Low damage and when upgraded, a slow. That seems like a massive buff towards pets. So for ultimate pets themselves, there's a few goals. First, by nerfing Smite against them, they need to become less durable, obviously. These changes amount to 5 to 7% less durability. I think for the trade-off we're getting, that is perfectly fine. The second goal is to make ultimate pet health more consistent. At level 6, these pets are too durable for 1v1s, but don't ramp up for mid-game at 9 or 10. So they're shifting the durability instead of the rank scaling. Interesting. And they're removing some AP scaling from pet durability. The ultimate pets have a reliable baseline of durability and function. So they're buffing it by having Smite not auto-kill them, but they're also nerfing it in other ways. Let's see which one's worse. So, damage to non-lane minions is now 20 to 160? Oh my god, that is a huge nerf. Interesting. So, 20% slow for 2 seconds. So that's new. That's unlocked on the second upgrade to Primal. Yeah, this is a big buff for pets. Let's see. Let's see how bad the durability nerf is, and that's gonna depend, or that's gonna like solidify my opinion. But I think this is so far a really big buff. So let's see. So Tibbers is getting basically the same treatment as who the fuck did we just go over that got this shit? It wasn't Sedge, right? Or was it Rel? It was something where they smoothed out the thing. I think it was. I don't fucking remember, but either way, they're smoothing it out. So they're smoothing out Tibbers' MR and armor, which is fine. You're losing the 5 AP% scaling, that's honestly nothing. The health is going up, but you're losing a lot. Well, not losing a lot. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is fine. It is 5 to 10%, I believe. Oh my god, the Dong turret. Yes! Yes! So it's getting slightly nerfed, but that's honestly fine. Turret armor is going up. Yes! And turret MR is going up. Yes! Dude, one of the suck-ass things about playing Heimer was just getting ganked and having the jungler smite your turret. It's like, what the hell? But yeah, this is a good buff for Heimer. Yorick, too. Oh my god, yes. So the durability has been adjusted. I feel like the Maiden out of everything is the most durable because you can heal it. Like, because if you go back to Found with it, it literally heals. So let's see. Maiden will now regen passively. That's fucking crazy. The armor and MR is going up to non-linear scaling. I forgot what non-linear means, I'm gonna be honest. So the health is getting a huge nerf. Huge nerf, which I don't agree with. One of the best things about the Maiden was that it was so beefy. Now it does have armor and MR, which is good, and it does regen, but I don't know. I feel like they took off a lot of health. I mean, it still scales off your health too, so maybe it's not too bad, but that is a big amount of base health to take off. That's like half, essentially. It literally is half. Wow. I want to see how this plays out. This could be better, though. I think having the Maiden regen in lane is really good, and the fact that it has armor and MR means it's good for fighting, too. I don't know. I think this could overall be a good thing. Okay. Night Harvester. What do I think of Night Harvester? This is a mythic, I believe. I never use this shit because I think this shit's weird and ass, but unless it's nuking people, let's see. Night Harvester's best users is the one of Night Harvester's best users is the item Static Shiv, which is below the bar for counterplay. Wait, so if you proc Static, does that proc Night Harvester too? If one of the beams like hits them? There's no way. Damaging an enemy champion to damaging an enemy champion with an attack ability or pet damage. That's actually insane. So Static used to proc Night Harvester? That's broken. I'm glad they took that out. Wow, that's disgusting. Again, I already put my opinions out on Static Shiv, but like god, that item is no longer an ADC item. They butchered it and like took away its identity. Surprise, surprise. Glacial. What do I think of Glacial? I think only supports take this shit, and even then, there's other things you could take in the green tree to where I don't think Glacial's that good. Now, it could be the case where it's good in pro play, but in regular play, I feel like this thing is not that good. Either it's not that good, or you don't feel the full effects of it to where it's satisfying to use, and that's a whole other problem. But let's see. Glacial Augment is pretty overpowered right now. Interesting. It can now end up feeling bad when dominant on tank supports, which unfortunately doesn't allow them to feel the effects of Guardian Aftershock. I actually think it's the opposite. In this patch, we're nerfing the base value and increasing the stats that they don't have. Okay. This should help non-tanks at the 2+ item breakpoint. A non-tank is not going to build this. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, there's so many better runes to take than this. No one's going to build this if you're not a tank. So, what are they doing? The Icy Slow Zone. So this is going down. Interesting. So the slow is just a little less. Wow. Okay, so I still think it's pretty much the same. The people who are using it are probably still going to use it, I think. Arena balance adjustments. I saw this said ARAM, so I was about to skip it, but let's actually read a little bit of it. So, welcome to the arena balance adjustments. The hotfix that came through in 13.14 were mainly about breaking up a meta that was forming, which is good. I think they should do that to an extent if it's that ridiculous, because I heard Kale, Fiora, and Yorick were pretty ridiculous, which is sad too, because I like 2 of those 3. But anyway, they're more about buffing up a bunch of underperforming champs and continuing to reign in top tier. Going forward, we'll keep an eye on tanks and assassins who have been struggling. Well, assassins are always struggling, and tanks are right there with them. I think the class that struggles the most is definitely assassins, if not ADCs, obviously. But assassins, I honestly feel like there are brothers in arms now. As a fellow ADC player, I see my assassin like brethren, which is ironic because they kill me. I see my assassin brethren suffering the same way I've suffered at the hands of Riot. They're making the role garbage. But anyway, before we jump into the balance adjustments, we want to give you a heads up that we're going to have some new soul fighters joining this patch. Cool. So Evelyn's here, which makes everyone invisible. That's cool. Gwen protects the lowest health ally play with her W. That's insane. Jin casts his ultimate. That's really nice. And then Shaco, that is probably the most annoying one. He puts his boxes. And then Viego. The first player to die will instead become Viego for a period of time. So it's like Scion passive, except you're Viego. That's interesting. And they're buffing Akshan because he probably sucked. I wonder if you could res your teammate in this. That'd be cool. Bard probably blows dick. Blitz, I'm surprised is not that good. Cassin sucks, which I wonder why, because he scales. Katarina sucks, interesting. And Cassante sucks. I thought Cassante would be good too. Rammus sucks. Xerath sucks. Wow. And Zig sucks. Echoes of Helia. Dirk. Okay, I'm not reading all this shit. Holy fuck. And here's the nerfs. Alistar. I didn't think Alistar was that good. Annie, I know she was crazy. Corky, he's going down. Heimer. Oh, that's sad. I wanted to play Heimer too. Jax was pretty good. Kale was really good. Kenna was pretty good. Poppy was good. Wukong is ass. Yorick was really good. What are they doing to Yorick? So Yorick passively spawns Graves, and that's going to take a little bit longer. That's fine. And then one Speaker's Blessing. Cool. And then Neferi. Neferi cameo did a lot of fucking damage, and thank God they're reducing it. Percent maximum health damage. It used to do 60%, now it's doing 20. Thank the good Lord. That thing actually, like, Neferi actually mauled you. If I didn't know any better, I would say it's a way for them to show Neferi is kind of OP, even though it's not realistic. But anyway, the Ring of Fire will now apply increasing amounts of grievous wounds. That's good. I feel like the Ring of Fire was kind of just a pussy thing. A player frame augment panel has been added. Nice. Dam Shop has been reordered. Very nice. Bug fixes, I don't care. ARAM adjustments, we don't care. More bug fixes. You can now gift the event pass, which I don't know why you couldn't before, but now you can. And now event mission progress for Arena has been adjusted. So I heard a lot of people were farming Arena because it was the most efficient way to get tokens, and now it will still be if you're winning, but if you're losing, you're eating shit. So that's fine. And then bug fixes, cool. And here are the new skins. So let me talk about these skins a little bit. Shaco, amazing fucking skin. It's sad it went to Shaco, especially because Shaco's so ass. But I think Shaco is amazing. What at least the skin is. I love the whole theme of like his arms are like ethereal floating arms that like aren't constricted by normal, physics of arms. I think that's a really cool skin. Soul Fighter Evelyn, very cool. The biggest thing with the skin line, and I have yet to confirm it, but I think the skins are outlined. I believe they have an outline on most of the skins, and I think that's super fucking hot. But I don't know if all of them are outlined, but I know for sure, or not for sure, but I'm 99% sure the set one is, and the set one is so fucking good. But yeah, Evelyn is fucking sexy as shit. I think the whole Soul Fighter skin line honestly is just great, and it's so sad that the worst part of this skin line is the ultimate skin. I think every other skin is amazing. Gwen, I mean, I told you I want her to be my wife, right? I want her to be my fucking wife because she's so cute and she's so amazing and she's hot. She's cute and she's hot. Like, look at this splash art. This splash art here is using perspective. Any splash art that uses perspective correctly and it focuses on Gwen's scissors, which is the crux of her whole personality. Like, this splash art is so fucking good. She looks like a goth emo gamer girl, which is what I want. Like, oh my god. I wish they gave Gwen the legendary instead of fucking Samira. Because realistically, Samira 1 is an ultimate. Or sorry, a legendary, not an ultimate. But anyway, we got another Jin skin. I'm always glad about that. The Jin skins go sicko mode. Then we have Soul Fighter Shaco regular. I think regular actually to me looks way better than Prestige. I actually like regular more. Prestige, he looks like he shares the theme with another skin. It's eluding me which one, but regular one he actually looks crazy. Like you see his arms, his normal arms in a straight jacket, and his spirit arms are like the ones doing it for him. I think that's so cool. And then we have the actual Soul Fighter legendary, which is Viego, which is amazing. The fact that this has a JoJo's reference in it, his dance in this skin is him and Azul doing the torture dance from Vento Oreo from part 5. Mwah. Dude, they're finally embracing the JoJo's. They're finally embracing it. But anyway, I think all these skins are amazing. I think the Viego skin is top notch from what I've seen. I haven't seen all of it, but it looks pretty good. And I just wish the Samira skin was better. But yeah, amazing skins for a pretty good event. I think that's just how we're going to end off that. And that's going to be it for the patch notes. I think we actually went pretty quick. How long did we go? 47 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. We usually go like 2 hours with this shit. So overall with this patch from everything, I remember I said last patch is going to be combined with this one because it's a new event and you know I'm taking into account the whole patch and not just the balance changes. So I think the other one, I forgot what I rated it, but I think I'll give this all in all just to kind of combine the two patches into one with everything they brought in. Some of the balance changes are like nothing really wowed me here, especially these ones. These ones are kind of stupid. The Asvanyon ones. Everything else is kind of whatever. I was gonna rate it higher, but I think I'm just gonna keep it to 7 out of 10 Marc Merrills. And that's everything. That's the event, the skins, everything. I honestly think the balance brings it down a little bit, but the balance wasn't terrible, but the balance wasn't anything crazy. I think 7 out of 10 Marc Merrills is what this is gonna be. So I hope everyone enjoyed, and I stream every day. I'm actually streaming this live right now on Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. This is all just a big advertisement for my Twitch channel because I don't want to work anymore and I would just want to be a streamer and play games all day and review more patch notes. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed and I hope to see everyone in 2 weeks when this patch comes out. And that's it. Eee!